Chapter 1. The Puppet Strings. I used to think that being married to Ava Reed would be a dream come true. People called her the Ice Queen CEO. To the world, she was flawless, always in control, always one step ahead. And me? I was the quiet husband who stood by her side, a shadow in every photo, the silent +1 at her glamorous events. No one saw me for who I was. Sometimes I doubted if Ava did either. One evening, as the city lights flickered against the high-rise windows, I stood in our penthouse living room buttoning the suit she'd picked for me. "Don't forget, blue tie tonight," Ava said without looking up from her phone. "The investors prefer it. It makes you look reliable." I forced a smile. "Yes, Ava." She barely glanced at me. "You remember what to say if anyone asks about my last trip?" I repeated the lines she'd drilled into me. "You went to Geneva for the climate summit, and everything was a success." She nodded. "Good. Don't embarrass me." She paused, then gave me a thin smile that never reached her eyes. "You're getting better at this." Clara, her secretary, breezed in, handing Ava a folder. "The press release, Ms. Reed." "Thank you, Clara. Can you double-check the table placements for the dinner? I want our table next to the board chairman's." Clara nodded and left as quickly as she'd arrived, her heels echoing through the marble. Ava turned to me, her voice softening just enough to fool anyone watching. "Ready?" "Of course," I said, even as something inside me wilted a little more. We arrived at the event, cameras flashing as soon as we stepped out of the car. Ava slipped her hand into the crook of my arm, smiling for the press. I played my role. I always played my role. Inside, the ballroom shimmered with crystal and gold. Powerful people mingled, and Ava worked the room like a master chess player. I stood beside her, invisible yet essential, introduced as my wonderful husband. She laughed at the right moments, offered clever answers, and leaned in for affectionate photos. Sometimes her hand squeezed my arm. Sometimes it was gentle. Sometimes it was a warning. Later, as we sat at our assigned table, I watched her with the practiced gaze of a man who's learned to read the temperature of every room by the set of his wife's jaw. She leaned in. "You're not smiling enough," she murmured, her lips barely moving. I tried. "Sorry, I'll do better." Ava's eyes flickered, cold and sharp. "You always say that." A strange feeling crept over me, a prickle at the back of my mind. I heard her voice again, but her lips didn't move. "He's just a toy. A name on my arm, nothing more. He should be grateful I keep him around." My heart slammed against my ribs. I stared at her, my smile frozen. Had she just thought that, or did she whisper it so quietly no one else could hear? I tried to focus on the conversation at the table, but I couldn't shake the echo of her words. No, her thoughts. Just a toy. Nothing more. Ava raised her glass to the chairman. "To new ventures," she toasted, her public smile dazzling. In my mind, her voice hissed again. "Don't mess this up for me, Daniel." For the rest of the evening, every time Ava looked at me, I braced for another wave of private contempt. I heard more than she ever said out loud, snapping criticisms, biting sarcasm, thoughts so harsh they made my chest tighten. As the dinner ended and we slipped into the car, I finally spoke. "Did I do something wrong tonight?" She sighed, still scrolling through emails. "You looked tense. It's a weakness, Daniel. Don't show it." I wanted to ask her why she married me, but the answer was already echoing in my mind. He makes me look good. That's all. Back in the apartment, Ava retreated to her office, leaving me in the dimly lit living room. I stared at my reflection in the window, wondering who I'd become. My phone buzzed. Ethan, my old college friend, checking in. "You okay?" he texted. I almost lied, but then I typed, "Do you ever wonder if you're just an accessory in someone else's story?" A moment later, Ethan called. "Daniel, what's going on? Is she giving you hell again?" I hesitated. She treats me like I'm nothing." Ethan sighed. "You're not nothing, man. Don't let her do that to you. Stand up for yourself, even if it's just in small ways." I looked toward Ava's closed door. For the first time, I didn't just feel trapped. I felt angry. And I felt something else too, a spark of curiosity. Could I really hear her thoughts? Was I losing it? I stared at the closed door, listening to the silence. If what I'd heard tonight was real, maybe I wasn't as powerless as I thought. Maybe this was just the beginning. Chapter 2. The Hidden Voice. The next morning, I woke up long before Ava. For a while, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if last night had been a hallucination. Maybe I was just exhausted, or maybe it was my mind finally breaking after years of being told what to say, what to wear, how to breathe. But as soon as Ava walked into the kitchen, pouring her coffee, I felt it, a prickling in the air like static before a storm. She barely glanced at me, but suddenly her thoughts pressed into my mind as if she'd whispered them in my ear. He should have woken up earlier. I can't stand his laziness. I set my mug down a little harder than I meant to. Morning, I said, keeping my tone even. She looked at me, her face blank. You're up early. I thought I'd try to get ahead today. You seemed annoyed last night. A flicker crossed her eyes. Annoyed? No, just tired. But in my head, I heard, he's getting suspicious. I hope he doesn't start asking questions. I almost laughed out loud. It was real. I could hear her clear as day. I decided to test it. So, what's the plan for today? I asked, as if I cared. She shrugged, stirring her coffee. Meetings all day. Investors at noon. Don't wait up. If only he could handle himself at those meetings. He'd embarrass me. I gritted my teeth, but forced a smile. I could stop by, just to support you. Ava's eyes narrowed. No need. Stay home. I don't want distractions. He'd probably say something stupid anyway. I nodded and turned away. She was ruthless, even in her head. But now her game had changed. She just didn't know it yet. I called Ethan on my walk to the corner store, needing to hear a friendly voice. He picked up, groggy. You're up early. Everything okay? Can I ask you something weird? I kept my voice low, glancing around to make sure Ava wasn't nearby. Sure. Weird is my specialty. Have you ever felt like you could hear someone's thoughts? Like, actually hear them? He barked a laugh. Are you serious? Is this one of your sci-fi story ideas? I sighed. No, I mean it. I think I heard Ava's thoughts last night, and again this morning. He was quiet for a beat. Maybe you're just picking up on her attitude. She's not exactly subtle. No, Ethan, I'm talking about actual words in my head, like she's narrating everything she doesn't say out loud. He whistled. If that's real, you better be careful. That's either a superpower or a sign you need sleep. I laughed, a little bitterly. Maybe both. Seriously, man, you okay? I don't know, but I'm not letting her control me anymore. Not if I can help it. That's the spirit, he said. Just don't go full mind reader in public, okay? I promised I'd keep it together. After we hung up, I stood on the sidewalk, feeling the world tilt. Suddenly, I wasn't just a puppet. I was a puppet with scissors, and nobody knew it but me. At lunch, Clara called to confirm a dinner plan for Ava. Her tone was professional, but I heard her thoughts too, faint but clear. I hope Ms. Reed doesn't blame me for yesterday's mistake. She's so hard to please lately. Everything okay, Clara? I asked, trying to sound casual. She startled. Of course, Mr. Reed. Did you need anything? No, just you sound tired. Make sure you take a break. She relaxed. Thank you. I will. It was addictive, this power. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but with every interaction, I grew more certain. The voices weren't just guesses. They were real. That afternoon, Ava called from her office, irritation in every syllable. Did you forget to send the documents to my father? No, I sent them last night. Her eyes narrowed, even over the phone. If he screwed this up, I'll never forgive him. I double-checked, I said. You can ask Clara. She hesitated. Fine. Good. I wondered what other secrets she kept, what plans, what lies. For the rest of the day, I tried not to let the noise of everyone's thoughts overwhelm me. Most were whispers, fragments of worry, hope, or fear, but Ava's thoughts cut through everything. Sharp, dismissive, cold. By evening, I sat on the couch, feeling both powerful and powerless. What good was it to know what Ava really thought if I still had to live with it? When she came home, she barely spoke, but her thoughts buzzed. Electric. He's changing. I need to remind him who's in charge. She didn't notice the way I looked at her. She didn't realize I'd heard her private world, but now I knew. I wasn't just living in Ava's story anymore. I was finally starting to write my own. Chapter 3. Cracks in Her Empire. It's strange how power looks different once you see behind the curtain. On the surface, Ava's company was thriving. Profits up, investors confident, glossy headlines with her photo everywhere. But behind closed doors, I heard the worry in her thoughts, sharper every day. One evening, Ava sat hunched over her laptop, the city lights painting lines across her face. She didn't look up when I entered. Not now, Daniel, I'm busy. I stood in the doorway, watching her fingers clench around her pen. Do you want some coffee? Just leave it by the desk, she muttered. He can't help me. Nobody can. If this gets out, it's all over. Her phone rang. She forced a smile as she answered. Victor, to what do I owe the pleasure? I recognized the name. Victor Ma, her biggest competitor, a wolf in an expensive suit. I watched as her voice shifted into something silky, almost flirtatious. But her thoughts gave her away. He'll try to squeeze me. I need to sound confident. Victor's laughter echoed through the speaker. Ava, my favorite CEO, heard you had a little trouble with the Shanghai deal. She stiffened. Nothing I can't handle. My team is on it. If only that were true. The numbers don't add up. Victor pressed on. Just checking in. If you need help, you know who to call. She ended the call and tossed her phone on the desk. Vultures! She spat. I took a breath. Is there something you want to talk about? She glared. Why would I share business problems with you? Because I'm your husband, I said quietly. And I want to help. She laughed, bitter. If you really wanted to help, you'd stop asking questions and start making yourself useful. Her words hurt, but her thoughts stung even more. He'd ruin everything if he got involved. He's better off in the dark. Later that night, I lay awake, Ava's voice and thoughts circling my mind. I decided to find out more. If her company was in trouble, maybe I could do something. If not for her, then for myself. The next morning, I called Ethan. Can you look up some things for me? Quietly. He sounded surprised. Sure. What's up? I think Ava's company is hiding something. Maybe debt. Maybe worse. He whistled. You want dirt on your own? Wife. I hesitated. Let's just call it insurance. That afternoon, the board met at Ava's office. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I showed up anyway, blending in with the crowd of assistants and secretaries. I listened to the chatter. Mr. Hahn, a senior board member with a stern face, stood near the coffee machine talking quietly with another director. This expansion is too risky, Hahn whispered. If the numbers aren't solid, we're exposed. The director frowned. Does Ava know? Hahn shook his head. She says she does, but I'm not convinced. Keep your eyes open. I waited for a moment alone and approached Mr. Hahn. Excuse me, sir, can I ask you something? He looked me up and down. You're Ms. Reed's husband, right? Yes. I just wanted to say if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. He raised an eyebrow. A husband who wants to get involved in company affairs? That's rare. I smiled, trying to look harmless. Sometimes it's the quiet ones who notice the most. He nodded, then walked away, leaving me with more questions than answers. When I got home that night, Ava was already pouring a drink. Her hands shook. You were at the office, she said without turning around. How did you know? She sipped her whiskey. Clara saw you. Are you spying on me now? No, I lied. I just wanted to see if you were okay. She stared at me, cold. Don't meddle in things you don't understand. But her thoughts betrayed her. If he finds out how close I am to losing everything, no. I won't let that happen. I watched her, realizing that the empire she'd built was starting to crack. And for the first time, I felt a strange sense of power. I wasn't just watching Ava fall apart. I was holding some of the pieces, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to help her pick them up. Chapter 4. The mask slips. The night of the gala arrived with the kind of pressure that could crack stone. Ava's world was all glimmer and applause, the ballroom full of men and women who ran the city. Her world, not mine. I wore the suit she picked. The tie she insisted made me look trustworthy. I did everything she asked, but tonight I felt different, stronger somehow. Ava's parents, Richard and Helen, greeted us at the door. Their smiles were sharp as knives. Daniel, Helen purred, you clean up well. Richard shook my hand with a grip meant to show dominance. Just keep your wife out of trouble tonight, son. This deal matters. Ava's smile was perfect for the cameras. You worry too much, Dad. Inside, the lights made everything shine. Ava leaned in, her lips barely moving. Stick close to me. No mistakes. I nodded, already scanning the room for Clara, Victor, and Mr. Hahn. But it was the press I noticed first, their eyes hungry for any hint of scandal. Ava held my arm tight. I heard her thoughts. Smile, idiot. This is the only thing you're good for. I forced a grin, but inside I was boiling. During dinner, Victor sauntered over with his glass raised. Ava, Daniel, enjoying the evening. Ava's tone was light, but her thoughts spat daggers. He's here to show off. Don't let him see you sweat. Victor leaned in. Rumor is your Shanghai numbers are shaky. Should we be worried? Ava flashed a dazzling smile. Only if you're the one who cooked them, Victor. He won't get away with this. Not here. I spoke up, surprising even myself. Victor, some people like to start fires and then call the fire department. He blinked. Didn't know you had jokes, Daniel. Ava shot me a look, her thoughts an icy ripple. What's he doing? Stay silent, Daniel. Don't make things worse. For the rest of the night, the tension between Ava and Victor played out in every glance. But for the first time, I wasn't afraid to be seen. I could feel the power shifting, just a little. After dinner, I excused myself and found Clara by the wall, nervously fiddling with her bracelet. You okay? I asked. She jumped. Just nervous. These events are a lot. I smiled gently. You do a good job. Ava's lucky to have you. She blushed, looking away. Thank you. Back at our table, Ava's parents grilled me with polite questions that felt more like interviews. So, Daniel, Helen asked, when will you and Ava give us some real news? Grandchildren? Ava's fork paused, just a heartbeat. Not now, Mother. We have enough problems. I gave a tight smile. Maybe when the world slows down a little. Richard cut in. Don't let work come before family, son. Trust me. I nodded, not bothering to argue. What could I say? That family here was just another currency? The rest of the night, I played the part, but every time Ava squeezed my arm, I heard the strain behind her mask. As the gala wound down, a reporter approached. Ms. Reed, a quick question. What's your secret for balancing marriage and such a demanding career? Ava smiled, all charm. The secret is having a supportive husband. Daniel makes everything possible. Her hand rested on mine, gentle for the cameras, claws underneath. I leaned in, my voice low. Do you ever get tired of pretending, Ava? Her eyes widened. What are you talking about? You don't have to answer, I whispered. I already know. She glared, voice barely audible. Not here. We got home in silence. She poured herself a drink, her hand shaking. What was that tonight? She demanded. I shrugged, hanging up my jacket. What do you mean? You embarrassed me. You went off script. Are you trying to make me look weak? I met her gaze, steady. No, but I'm tired of being invisible. Her voice rose. Then try harder to be useful, or don't bother showing up at all. I heard her thoughts, trembling under the anger. He knows. How? I need to get control back. He can't do this to me. I stepped closer, letting her feel my calm. Ava, maybe you should start worrying less about appearances and more about what's really falling apart. She stared at me, searching for the old fear. It wasn't there. She turned away, hiding her face. Just leave me alone tonight, Daniel. I left her in the kitchen, the weight of her fear pressing into the silence. For the first time, she didn't feel untouchable anymore. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the dark. Chapter 5. Strings cut, tables turned. After the gala, something changed between us. Ava grew distant, locking herself away in her office for hours. But I noticed the little things. The way she avoided eye contact, the way her voice cracked when she spoke to board members. She was unraveling, even if she tried to hide it. One evening, I walked into the kitchen to find her pacing, phone pressed to her ear. Victor, I told you, the numbers are fine. The Shanghai deal is solid. She paused, listening. Her thoughts flared in my head. If he keeps pushing, the whole thing could collapse. I cleared my throat, and she jumped. I'll call you back. She snapped into the phone, hanging up abruptly. Everything okay? I asked. She glared. Why do you care? I shrugged. You've been stressed lately. Thought you might want to talk. She scoffed, but I caught the flicker of doubt in her eyes. I don't need your pity. I need solutions. He can't help me. No one can. Later that night, I found Ethan waiting in the lobby, hands shoved deep in his pockets. You look like hell, he said. Thanks. That's what marriage to a CEO does to you. He grinned. Any luck finding out what she's hiding? Plenty. Her company's bleeding money, and Victor smells blood. Ethan's expression grew serious. Be careful, Dan. People like Victor don't play fair. We rode the elevator in silence. I thought about what to do next. I couldn't confront Ava directly, not yet, but maybe I could shift things from behind the scenes. The next day, I stopped by the office. Clara met me at the door, worry etched across her face. "Is Ms. Reed okay?" she whispered. "She's dealing with a lot. Just watch her back, okay?" Clara nodded, grateful. "Thank you, Mr. Reed." Upstairs, I heard voices in the boardroom. Victor's, sharp and cutting, and someone new. A woman's voice, smooth and confident. I peeked in and saw her, Maya, Victor's assistant. She caught my eye and smiled, just a flicker. Victor was leaning over the table. "You need stronger leadership, Ava. The board is nervous." Ava squared her shoulders. "I'm not stepping down. The company is under control." Maya's thoughts brushed my mind. She's bluffing. Victor will eat her alive if she slips. I stepped inside, ignoring the tension. "Everything all right here?" Victor turned, eyebrow raised. "Just a little business, Daniel. Nothing you'd understand." I smiled. Sometimes an outsider's perspective is exactly what you need. Ava shot me a warning look, but I held my ground. For the first time, I felt the power in the room shift toward me. After the meeting, Maya caught me in the hallway. "You handled Victor well," she said, her voice low. I shrugged. "He likes to make people sweat." She smiled, eyes glinting. "He underestimates you. Maybe Ava does too." I hesitated. "Are you with Victor or just here for the ride?" She laughed softly. "Let's just say I like to be on the winning side." That night, Ava tried to act like everything was normal. She made dinner, poured wine, even smiled. "Maybe we should get away for a weekend," she said, her voice too sweet. I heard her thoughts, desperate. If I can win him back, maybe he'll stop digging. Maybe he'll be loyal again. I shook my head. "Now's not the time. You need to focus on the company." Her mask slipped. "You think I don't know that?" "I think you're afraid of losing more than just your job," I said quietly. She slammed her glass down. "Don't you dare psychoanalyze me, Daniel." I stood my ground. "I'm not your enemy, Ava, but I won't let you pull my strings anymore." She stared at me, anger and fear swirling in her eyes. For the first time, I saw her as she really was. Not a queen, but a woman desperately clinging to her crumbling throne. And I realized I didn't want her to fall, not yet. But I was done being her puppet. Chapter 6. Betrayal Exposed. I always thought I'd seen the worst of Ava's secrets. I was wrong. The truth hit me late one night when I overheard Ava on the phone. I'd just stepped out of the shower when her voice, sharp and hushed, filtered through the crack in her office door. "I told you, the Reed Trust was just collateral. He'll never know. As long as the board doesn't dig." My blood ran cold. She was talking about my family's trust, the one thing my mother still depended on. I pressed my ear to the door, barely breathing. She hung up a moment later, and I slipped away before she noticed me. My hands shook as I called Ethan. "She used my family's money, Ethan. She put the trust fund up as collateral on her deals. If her company tanks, we lose everything." He whistled, low and angry. That's cold, Dan." "I need proof," I said, "and I need help." The next morning, I met with Maya in a nearby cafe. She slid a folder across the table, eyes wary. "I'm risking a lot giving you this," she whispered. I opened the file. There it was. Legal documents with my name, my mother's name, Ava's signature, the trust fund tied to her company's mounting debts. I clenched my fists. "Thank you, Maya. Why help me?" She looked away. "Victor's not the only one who wants Ava out. She's hurt a lot of people." I nodded, my chest heavy. That night, I invited Ethan and my mother to our apartment. Ava arrived home to find us waiting in the living room. She froze, eyes darting between us. "What's going on?" I held up the folder. "You want to explain this, Ava?" She tried to snatch it from my hands, but I pulled back. "You used the Reed Trust as collateral without telling me, without telling my mother." My mother's face went pale. "Ava, is this true?" Ava glared at me, lips pressed thin. "It was temporary. I was going to fix it before anyone noticed." I shook my head, feeling rage and disappointment twist inside me. "You lied to me. You lied to all of us." Ethan stepped forward. "You crossed a line, Ava. This isn't business. This is family." Ava's eyes filled with tears, but her thoughts spat venom. "I did what I had to. He never would have let me risk it. He's too soft." My mother's voice trembled. "You risked everything your father worked for. Everything I have left." Ava's mask finally cracked. "I had no choice. The company, everything was falling apart. I just needed time." I faced her steady. "And what about me? Was I just a tool for your rescue plan?" She didn't answer. Ethan's voice was cold. "We should call the lawyers." Ava looked at me, desperate. "Daniel, please. I never meant to hurt you. I thought I could fix it. I swear." But I heard the truth underneath. If I can just convince him, maybe he'll save me. Maybe he still cares. I felt my heart harden. "You always think you can fix everything by controlling people. Not this time." She backed away, eyes wild. "If you do this, you're ruining us both." I let the silence stretch. Maybe we were already ruined. I turned to my mother. "I'm sorry, Mom. I should have protected you." She squeezed my hand, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Ava collapsed onto the couch, sobbing now, her thoughts a storm of regret, anger, and fear. Ethan put a hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing." Maya stood in the doorway, watching, her expression unreadable. For the first time, I felt free. Not because I'd won, but because I'd finally stopped letting Ava define me. The empire she built was collapsing, and this time I wasn't the one holding it up. Chapter 7. The Fall of a Queen. The day of the final board meeting arrived, cold and gray. I dressed alone. No Ava at my side, no reminders about ties or smiles. I walked into the tower with Ethan at my shoulder, Maya just ahead, her face calm and unreadable. My hands didn't shake. I was ready. The boardroom was already full. Reporters clustered in the lobby, sensing blood in the water. Inside, the directors whispered, eyes flicking between me and the empty seat at the head of the table. Ava arrived late. She looked thinner, older, eyes ringed with exhaustion, but she wore her armor, a designer suit, heels clicking against the marble, chin high. She glanced at me, then took her seat. "Let's begin," she said, voice clear, but I could hear the tremor underneath. Mr. Hahn, always formal, called the meeting to order. First agenda, financial disclosures. Victor smiled, almost kindly. "Ava, we'd like a full explanation of the Shanghai losses and the collateral arrangements." Ava's jaw tensed. "Everything is under control. The market will rebound. My plan—" Victor cut her off. "We've already seen the documents." He slid a folder down the table. "Your husband provided them." The room stilled. Ava's eyes burned into me. "You did this." I met her gaze. "You left me no choice. My family's future was at risk." Her thoughts were frantic. Jumbled prayers, curses, regrets. "I built this company," she hissed. "You think you can just take it from me?" Victor's voice was smooth as oil. "The board doesn't want to take anything. We want the truth. We want stability. And we want someone we can trust." Ava stood, her control slipping. "You want stability? Fire me. And watch this place burn. I kept this company alive when everyone else was too scared to act." Maya spoke up for the first time, her voice steady. "You also put your husband's family trust on the line, without consent. That's not leadership, Ava." Mr. Hahn nodded gravely. "We've reviewed everything. It's time to vote." Ava looked around the table, searching for an ally. Her parents weren't there. Helen was at home, Richard out of the country, neither answering her calls. Clara sat in the back, eyes down, afraid to meet her gaze. Ava's voice broke. "You're making a mistake. I gave my life for this company." I watched her, my heart heavy but sure. "You gave everything except honesty, Ava. That's what cost you." The board members raised their hands, one by one. The vote was swift, unanimous. Ava was removed as CEO, effective immediately. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Ava let out a harsh breath, nearly a sob. "You think this makes you strong, Daniel? You think you've won?" I shook my head. "I didn't want to win. I just wanted to be seen, to be respected. But you couldn't do that. Not even for yourself." She stared at me, eyes bright with fury and grief. "I needed you, Daniel, even if I couldn't say it." I almost believed her, but her thoughts still spun with anger, pride, blame. Victor stood, offering her his hand. "We'll arrange the transition. Take some time, Ava. Maybe you'll find peace away from all this." She ignored him, grabbing her bag and storming out of the room. Reporters shouted her name as she left. For the first time, she didn't stop for the cameras. The meeting ended. Mr. Hahn shook my hand. "That was brave, son." Ethan slapped my back. "You did it." Maya lingered. "If you want a fresh start here, let me know. I think you'd be good at leading people who actually listen." I managed to smile. "I just want to breathe for a while." On my way out, I saw Clara in the hall wringing her hands. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded. She wasn't always like this, you know. There was a time when she cared. I sighed. Maybe she'll find that side of herself again. Or maybe she won't. Outside, the cold air hit my face. I looked up at the sky, felt the weight lift from my shoulders. I wasn't the puppet anymore. I wasn't the shadow. And as I walked away from the tower, I realized I'd finally become the person I was meant to be. Chapter 8. Silence after the storm. After the board meeting, my world felt both emptier and lighter. The headlines hit fast. Ice Queen CEO ousted in shocking vote. Ava Reed falls from grace. Her face was everywhere, but she was nowhere to be found. I spent a week in silence, barely leaving my apartment. Ethan stopped by, arms full of takeout, dumping cartons on the coffee table. "You're not eating enough, man," he grumbled, slumping onto the couch. "You look like hell." I forced a laugh. I feel strange, like I lost something, even though I should feel free. Ethan leaned forward. "You lost her. It's okay to grieve, Dan, but you didn't lose yourself." He was right, but it didn't make the ache go away. A few days later, Maya called. "Just checking in. The company's stabilizing. Investors are breathing again." "That's good," I said, rubbing my eyes. "You'll do well there, Maya. They're lucky to have you." She hesitated. "You could come back, if you wanted. I think you have more to offer than you know." I smiled softly. "Maybe one day. For now, I need to find my own feet." There was a long pause. "Take care of yourself, Daniel. You deserve better." I hung up, her words ringing in my ears. My mother invited me over for dinner that Sunday. She held me longer than usual at the door, her eyes searching my face for cracks. "Are you sure you're all right?" she asked, setting plates on the table. "I'm getting there," I said. It hurts. I thought I'd feel stronger by now." She squeezed my hand. "Healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just waking up and choosing not to give up." That night, as I walked home under the streetlights, I realized something. The silence wasn't empty. It was peaceful, but the past wasn't done with me yet. One evening, I found Ava waiting outside my building. Her hair was loose, eyes rimmed red, no makeup, no mask. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. I nodded and led her up. We sat at my small kitchen table, the city humming outside. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, she broke the silence. "I lost everything," she said quietly. "My job, my reputation. Even my parents won't take my calls." I watched her, waiting. She looked up, tears in her eyes. "You must hate me." I shook my head. "No, I just can't go back." She wiped her face with trembling hands. "I'm sorry, Daniel, for all of it. For using you, for not trusting you, for everything." I listened for the old static in my mind, the secret thoughts she never said. But this time, there was nothing, just quiet, just her. "I tried to make you fit into my world," she whispered. "But you deserved better than that. I was scared of being weak, of losing control. I hurt you, and I see that now." I took a deep breath. "You didn't just hurt me. You hurt my family. You hurt yourself." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I have to live with that." We sat in silence again, nothing left to hide. "I hope you find peace, Ava. I hope you find the part of yourself that cares, before it's too late." She nodded. "Thank you for not destroying me, even when you could have." I stood and opened the door. "Goodbye, Ava." She walked out without another word. For the first time, she looked small, not the Ice Queen, just a woman trying to find her way in a world that had stopped listening. After she left, I stared at the closed door for a long time. The anger was gone, replaced by a strange, quiet relief. A week passed. I called Ethan. "You want to go for a walk?" "Only if you're buying coffee." He joked. We wandered the city, the chill fading into the warmth of spring. I told him about Ava's visit, about the emptiness I still felt. He nudged me. "You did something most people never do. You broke free. Now you get to figure out who you are without her." For the first time, I let myself imagine a future where I wasn't defined by Ava or by anyone else. Maybe I'd take Maya's offer. Maybe I'd do something completely different. For now, it was enough to simply breathe. As we crossed the park, Ethan stopped. "You know what I think?" he asked. "What?" "I think you're stronger than you know. And I think this..." He gestured at the world around us. "This is just the beginning." I smiled, the weight in my chest lifting, if only a little. That night, as I lay in bed, I listened to the silence. No voices, no secret thoughts, Just my own heartbeat, steady and real. I didn't need to hear anyone else to know who I was. I was finally free.